Hello folks, welcome to another update on Telepath Tactics. We're still pre-alpha, and we are still chugging along on the campaign. Here is the latest. As you can see, I've added in a scrolling text introduction to kind of introduce you, I guess. That would be what an introduction does. It introduces you to the setting and to the game. Here, I'll read it to you. The Dundar Archipelago. An enormous cluster of islands spread across thousands of square miles of ocean. In the earliest times, each island was largely isolated, its inhabitants, if there were any, left to develop a unique culture untouched by neighboring isles. 800 years ago, Sir Gilliam Dundar changed that. Making use of new sailing and navigation technologies, he led a massive army on a whirlwind conquest of the archipelago, absorbing island after island into a sprawling empire that would last for centuries, blah blah blah. I'm reading too slowly for this, because I started too late. Whatever. You might have noticed I just sped up the text there at the end. That happens if you click during text cutscenes. I haven't implemented a proper skip function yet, but I figure that's a nice middle ground. If the text is going too slow for you, you can kind of speed it up at various intervals. And here is the training map that we saw before, but there are some differences. As you can see, the game now pans to whichever character is speaking and highlights them on the battlefield, so it's much easier to sort of keep track of who's talking. And yeah, this is the same dialogue as before. I'm not going to read it again. Actually, it's a little bit different. I tweaked it. Because I'm a writer, I like tweaking. I'm never satisfied with the first draft. This is new. I added in a proper tutorial to this battle, so I'll just read this out loud. Welcome to Telepath Tactics. In this battle, you control Emma Strider, the swordsman in the bottom left. Click on Emma to select her. So, sure enough, you click her. Tutorial says, every space Emma can move to is highlighted in blue. Click a blue space to move there. So, this is basic stuff, just teaching you the controls. Good, now select Done, the button with the green check mark to end your turn. Pretty straightforward. Yep. Okay, so now on the next turn, when you select Emma, more tutorial! The game knows that you've selected her, and decides to pop up a little tutorial message. By the way, this is stuff that is entirely user customizable. Like, you can create dialogue in your own battles. The game will recognize that you've added dialogue, and, you know, depending on the trigger you select, it will show up at some point during the turn that you specify. And it will automatically pan the camera to whatever character has the name that you select for the dialogue. That might not work so well in multiplayer, given that the names are randomly generated, and the chances of successfully guessing ahead of time what any character is going to be named, pretty much zilch. But in a single-player map, you can have as much dialogue as you want, custom characters, etc., etc. Anyway, let's continue with the tutorial. To attack, move Emma right next to Sabrina. This will be easy. Let's move her behind her. Get a little backstab in. Now select Skills, the button with the sword, to open up Emma's attacks. Really basic. Move the mouse over each attack button to see what it does and what spaces it can reach. To choose an attack, click it. Choose Sword, the attack in the top left, now. As you can see, Emma does not have the full complement of attacks. I believe what I'm going to do in this game is, rather than using the training system that I used in previous Telepath games, like Telepath RPG, I think I'm just going to have a straightforward, you learn stuff as you level up mechanic in this game. Simply because it's a little different. I want to try something a little new, and also that means less work for me. Also, I don't have to try to justify there being a trainer as part of the storyline, which also is useful. Okay, so blah blah blah, it's teaching us how to attack. It's pretty straightforward though, I mean. It's not that hard to figure out. Okay, so it's all done, it's done tutorializing at us. Just letting us go at it. So this is new. Grant Winter, the platoon's cryokineticist, leans into the room. Ladies, I hate to interrupt, but the commander wants us. So that's another thing. You might have noticed the battle there just ended without giving you the sort of a victory splash screen. That is another thing you can customize in the character dialogue. In the character dialogue settings, I guess? Well, not settings, man. I'm tired, folks. I'm sorry if I'm not narrating this as well as I should be. When you write out dialogue, you set parameters. That's the word I want, parameters. So you have, like, the name of the speaker, you have the turn it gets triggered on, what the actual dialogue is, and you also have a sort of a click condition, right? So when you click on dialogue, it can go to the next branch of dialogue, right? So that's what's going to happen when I click now. That just made Emma say her line. But there is a custom thing where at the end of a conversation, you can have it immediately end the battle, or, as I did at the end of the last one, you can have it end the battle and skip directly to the next scene without having a victory splash screen. And that's really handy for battles like this one. This isn't even a battle. I mean, it is a battle, but nothing's going to happen. There isn't even an enemy on the screen, right? It's all your team there. There's no fighting to be done, it's pure dialogue. So basically, this entire battle occurs before there's even a turn, right? Like, the dialogue happens on turn 0, before you even get to move anyone, and then it ends the battle. Skips to the next one. It's effectively a way of putting cutscenes into the game. That was pretty simple to do, and it will be simple for you to do when you get the game and you start making your own battles and scenarios. So anyway, let's return to the briefing here. Sabrina says, "Do you think we'll finally get to see some action?" Shh! Alright everyone, settle down. We've got a situation with some bandits harassing the village. Bandits attacking Daubry? Pfft. Have something to say, Alvin? Who would bother attacking Daubry? There's nothing there but mud and ticks. We don't know who. That is what you all are going to find out. Grant. Yes, sir? You're in charge. Figure out where the bandits are operating from, then clear them out. I want no casualties. Understood? Yes, Commander. What a waste of time. One last thing. If I hear about you, and I mean any of you pups, disobeying orders, you'll be thrown into the brig. I don't care whose son you are. Dismissed. So, there you go. Another cutscene. And we get to hear from Kevin for the first time in the game. Hey, Emma. Hi, Kevin. Are you nervous about fighting these bandits? No, not really. Why are you? No, I was, just wondering if you were. I'm fine, Kevin. Just focus on keeping up. Ah, I just love the woods. Ugh, it's nothing but a filthy breeding ground for insects. Well, so is your mother, but you don't see us complaining. What did you just say? You dare insult my mother? Lighten up, Alvin. It was just a joke. I could have you thrown out of the army, you know. You'd live the rest of your life in a miserable hovel. Now that would be funny. On the plus side, I wouldn't have to see your ugly face every day. I love you, Minnow. Knock it off, you two. We need to focus. We're only 6 soldiers. If those bandits catch us distracted, they could take us apart in moments. Speak for yourself, Winter. Whoa, hold on, everyone. Do you hear that? I don't hear anything. Bandits, on either side of the trail ahead. They must have heard us. Get ready, everyone. And here we go, the first proper battle of the game, although this is really more of a tutorial than anything. So you might notice this game supports battle maps of pretty much any size you can imagine. Like this right here has got to be at least 2, 3, 4 times the size of the maps in Telepath RPG Servants of God. You might also notice that there are a ton of destructible objects on the battlefield in order to give you the sense of being in the woods. Every single one of these is destructible. There's not really any good reason to try to destroy them on this particular battlefield, but you can. You know, if you want to just, beat up a bush, you can do it. Like here, I'll hack at this bush here. Look at that. Look at that. Take that, bush. Tired of your leafy green goodness. Die! Yep, there you go. No more bush. You see that? That's what happens. That's what happens when you're a bush. Okay, so anyway, this is a really, really easy battle. I basically just put it in here to give people a chance to get familiar with the characters on their team and sort of get the hang of applying all of those basic commands that they learned in the training map. Move, attack, end turn, etc. I might actually add in a little bit more tutorializing into this particular map, just to handle stuff like, how do I end my turn automatically? Right-click and go to end turn, or hit E. Stuff like that. Because when I showed this game at Tech Week, that was something that everyone asked me while they were playing. So it makes sense to have the game just straight up tell them while they're just getting started. Okay, another thing you might have noticed, that swordsman didn't counterattack. Why is that, you ask? That, folks, is because I need to work on the formatting there, but anyway, custom enemies, right? That's another thing that is supported now. So these are really, really weak swordsmen. As you can see, they have a strength of 5, 0 counterattacks, no resistances, which is unusual for swordsmen. They usually have some kind of physical resistance. Low health, very little energy. Basically, these guys exist to kind of be punching bags while the player gets his or her footing. Alright, let's end the turn. Later on in the campaign, I intend to have the player fight against enemies who are pretty much on par. But not for the first few battles, because that would be very difficult to deal with for someone who's just learning how to play the game. So Alvin, because he's cavalry, can move after he attacks. That might be a thing I mention in a tutorial. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, Emma, why don't you go deal with this guy here. And Grant. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to hit that. Grant, head over there. See if you can freeze this guy. That would be pretty great. I don't know if you guys remember seeing this, but if not, I'll let you know now. All of the blast attacks that appeared in earlier Telepath RPGs now have a 50% chance to induce status effects. So, because Grant is a cryokineticist, he uses Cryoblast, which has a 50% chance to freeze the target solid for up to 4 turns. Unfortunately, it looks like it didn't work there, but that's actually okay because, well, these enemies are really, really easy, so I don't have to worry too much. I wonder if Kevin can finish this guy off. Let's see, base damage of 10. This guy has 10 health. You know what? He is not going to finish him off if he does that. Here's an interesting fact. Characters that have ranged attacks that can hit at multiple ranges I'll just use this as an example. They deal maximum damage if they hit at the closest possible space. For every space that you go after that, I believe it's a 15% damage penalty. So, shooting at the full extent of your range, you get a 30% damage penalty here as a bowman. Which, 15% penalty, that's what he would have if he were shooting from there to hit this guy. He'd still deal like 8 or 9 damage, but he'd put himself in range of the swordsman and he wouldn't finish him off. So, I'm not going to have him do that. Simple as that, folks. Although, wait a minute. Oh, I guess I could have blocked that off. Well, whatever. You know what, folks? Doesn't matter. I'm wasting way too much time on this battle. Okay, let's end this and proceed to the next battle. Yeah, see, look at that. 8 damage, that's what it was. Not enough to finish the job. Good job, Sabrina. I don't know if you noticed, folks, my characters are gaining experience points. That's what you see under the name on the right side. It says level 1 swordsman, 50 out of 100. Whenever a character reaches 100 experience points, they level up. Or at least they will. They actually do level up right now, but the game doesn't currently keep track of character levels in between battles. That is a thing I am in the process of adding in. Also, characters don't actually improve when they level up. That's also a thing I'm adding in. It's not in the game just yet, though. Emma Strider. We've reached Daubry. I thought I smelled something. I don't see any villagers. The town, it's being sacked. Those poor villagers. We can't let them do that. We have to save the village, right, Grant? We need to be careful. There may be more of them back behind the tree line. But yes, our orders are to eliminate these bandits, so that is exactly what we are going to do. On my mark, we move. And there we go. This is the first bigger battle of the game. As you can see, it has a pretty reasonably large battlefield here. I actually remember the dimensions for this one. This is 40 by 15, which is substantially larger than anything you've seen in any Telepath game thus far. So that's great. I feel pretty good about that, I suppose. It's a bit of an accomplishment on a technical level. I'm just going to have my sturdier fighters go up front. Grant, why don't you move over here, say. Just hang out there for a little bit. Minnow, just move up a little bit. Kevin, over here. Perfect. So, what Grant was saying about there, maybe being enemies behind the tree line, there's a reason for that. It's because this is the first battle in the game where enemies get reinforcements. Now, you might recall that in Telepath RPG Servants of God, there were battles where there were enemy reinforcements, but the way it worked, they weren't really true reinforcements. They were actually just enemies respawning that started off on the battlefield, and just a new version would spawn after they died, after a certain number of turns. So, there is respawning in this game, but there are also true reinforcements. So there are going to be a whole bunch of characters that were not there before spawning, like right up here, in another turn or so. Just one of the many, many great things that have been added to the Telepath universe because of this game's fantastic new engine. Alvin, head up a little bit. Kevin, because he's a bowman, can move after he attacks, so I guess I'll just have him move a little closer. Minna, move up there. Grant, why don't you just rest for a turn? When a character doesn't move or attack, they gain 5 energy at the start of the next turn. And because Grant is a cryokineticist, his attacks are very energy intensive. So, like, even just his regular attack costs 2 energy. But to use Cryoblast, which is his most powerful attack that he has right now, he will actually need more than that. He will need to use 5 energy. So every turn he rests, that's basically another Cryoblast he can use. Alright, Alvin, you hang out here. Emma, I want you moving up here. And Kevin. Come on down and finish this guy for me, will you? Very good. Sabrina... I have to be careful. I don't want Sabrina getting shot by that crossbowman, if I can help it. But I might not be able to help it. So what the hell? Let's just move... Actually, let's see. Where can this guy move to? Maybe what I'll do is have Sabrina move over here, just kind of deal with that crossbowman on her own, if she can. If the crossbowman decides to ignore her, which I don't think she will, but if that crossbowman decides to ignore her, then hey, even better, because that means Sabrina will get a free backstab attack in. Alright, Minnow, head over here. Grant, head over here. And end turn. Oh, there are the reinforcements, as promised. Yep, going right for Sabrina, as I thought. Sabrina could use some healing. Luckily we have Minnow on hand. Though I'd rather not subject Minnow to that crossbowman if I can help it. Let's see. Sabrina can't deal 16 damage in one hit, but she can deal quite a bit. That gets that crossbowman pretty close. One more turn ought to do it. And Sabrina can definitely survive another turn without healing, so I'm not too worried about her. Now here's an interesting thing. I've mentioned this before. You can move characters, then go and move another character, then come back to the first character and move them again afterwards. So here we're doing kind of an advanced maneuver. We moved Emma out of the way to make room for Alvin to come in and attack with a backstab. Now Alvin can move again, because he's cavalry, so I'm just going to move him up here, out of the way. Now Kevin can come in and attack. Whoops. A little misclick there. Down he goes. And Emma can move some more. She doesn't have the same move range, right? She moved 1 space before, so now instead of having a move range of 5, she has a move range of 4. But she can continue moving to the outer limits of her movement range. That is just one cool little thing about this game. Truth. Okay, you know what? Minnow's actually in danger where she's standing right now, because this crossbowman can move down here. So what I'd like to do is move Minnow out of the way into a spot where she's safe. Like, she should be okay there. She would not be okay here, in this space right below her, because there's a wall with a window there. Characters with ranged attacks can shoot through windows. So that would have been really bad if I'd moved her down there. But where she's standing right now, I'm pretty sure she can't get hit. So that should work out pretty well. Let's end the turn and see what the computer AI decides to do. As expected, going for Sabrina. Sabrina's pretty badly hurt now. I really need to get Minnow over to her. I have maybe a turn or two before these guys get down to where my troops are. Okay, yeah. Sabrina can definitely finish this guy. So, go to it. Very good. That is the end of the crossbowman. Unfortunately, she's out of range for Mega Shield, which is really what, that's actually really what Sabrina needs. I think I'll just wait one more turn. And... Alright, so this is tricky, because this guy's going to get off a free shot on my guys. I'd rather he didn't, but... Let's see. I could just ride up there and punish him for moving in range with Alvin, but that's problematic. Because all these guys will be able to kind of come down and hit Alvin. Then again, Alvin has... no, only 22 health. Probably better not to chance it. Maybe what I'll do is move him over here and keep this bowman from attacking Minnow, because I just noticed that that was probably something he... Don't quote me, but I think he probably would have been able to hit her from there. And let's see. Kevin, shoot this guy, will you? Okay. That is the end of that turn. As you can see, the computer AI is not particularly great at prioritizing its unit move order at the moment. It's pretty smart about what it does with the units it moves, but, you know, sometimes it will have a character who has no way of moving where he needs to go, and it'll choose to move that character first instead of moving the characters that are blocking it. That is something I intend to work on. But, you know, there are so many things that need to be worked on. So very, very many. And you gotta prioritize. So, while the enemy AI could be improved, I feel like it's good enough where it provides a decent challenge. Oh, nice. There you have it, folks. He's now frozen, which means we can effectively ignore him for a few turns and concentrate our forces on beating up these bad guys over here. So let's see, we've got... Okay. Emma, why don't you attack this guy? This bandit swordsman. Alvin, please attack this bowman. Finish him off. Thank you. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then just move in range for Minnow to heal you. And Kevin. Let's see, can you do anything to this guy? Kevin will not finish this guy off, but that's okay. I think. Actually, let's see. We actually might have an opportunity here to use some nice harassment tactics. So because Bowman can attack and then move again afterwards, you can move, fire off an arrow, and then move back out of attack range. So Kevin is now safe from the swordsman who he just attacked. Interesting there. You noticed, or you may have noticed, that that swordsman chose not to attack Emma. That is because the swordsman has 6 health, and Emma has a counterattack. The AI is smart enough to know that if you have the option of attacking someone who will counterattack you, and that counterattack will kill you, unless your attack will kill that character, or do something fantastically useful, the AI just straight up won't do it. It will not launch suicidal attacks of that kind. That was something that always bothered the heck out of me about Fire Emblem, was the fact that enemies would oftentimes launch just these incredibly dumb suicidal attacks on characters that it had. Like, I mean, sometimes it would kind of make sense, right? Like, if you had something really useful that you would get out of it. But, I mean, we're talking, like, you know, attacking characters where they had a 4% chance to deal 0 damage, and the counterattack would kill them. It's just like, why? What does that get you, tactically? So, that was something I resolved to not have in this game. Oh, look at this, folks. We have an opportunity for the first ever push into an environmental hazard in this campaign. Let's do it. And now the spearman is drowning. How exciting. Alright. Grant. Let's see if you can freeze this crossbowman. That would be fantastic. Come on, make Daddy proud. I am disappointed, Grant. Well, at least he managed to freeze this swordsman. This swordsman's heart is not open, if you believe Madonna. And now, he's dead. So it doesn't even matter. You know, head over here. It doesn't really matter. This battle's pretty much sewn up at this point. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should heal. I don't know, Alvin and Sabrina could both use healing. Who's likely to die first? Well, this guy's definitely dead. So's the other one, I think. Still doesn't matter. Oh, dang it. My clicking accuracy is not as good with a touchpad as it perhaps should be. Alright, Minnow, just come over here, heal Alvin. Get some gratuitous experience points. If I were really mean, I could have Emma just push him back into the water, but I'm just going to finish this. And that is all she wrote, folks. Well, there you have it. There is our current preview of the Telepath Tactics single-player campaign. Things are only going to get more and more exciting from here on in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.